All right, so did Oklahoma throw away their shot at a playoffs? It happened this season. It happened today. And listen, this is a heart-wrenching loss for Oklahoma, 26-14 to Ole Miss. You had chances to win this game, and if you're an Oklahoma fan, you're really tired of saying that. You're really tired of looking at the line. We threw away the game. We had a chance to win, but then Oklahoma comes up every single week and can't figure out how to win these games. It feels like you're back in 2022 when you just had those close losses every single week. And that's kind of what it feels like now. Oklahoma's not losing close games, but they're missing opportunities to be able to go out there, make games competitive, make them close, and ultimately be able to come out of games with win. And now you're Oklahoma sitting at 1-4 in the SEC. Really, I don't think there's any light at the end of the tunnel. If you're an Oklahoma fan at this point, you are asking yourself if they can make the playoffs. And looking at this Oklahoma team, it's the offense that has been the main problem all year long. But starting out the game today, you felt pretty confident about what they were rolling out there. The play calling was good. You felt like there was execution from the offensive side of the ball. And then the second half came out. The offense couldn't move the ball. The defense couldn't get a stop against Ole Miss. And ultimately, that allowed Ole Miss to score 16 points in the second half, which made it a ball game. It was 14-10 at halftime, and Oklahoma was leading. And you genuinely felt like Oklahoma might have a shot if they come out playing like they did in the first half. And I really thought Oklahoma was going to have 400 yards of total offense in the first, like at the end of the game. That's where I felt. And then, like I said, it was a tale of two halves. So we got to look at it today. And I think for the offense, you got to start with turnovers. Turnovers have been absolute killers for this offense all season. And, today you saw Taylor Tatum fumble the ball. This is his third on the year. And it's frustrating at this point because your running backs overall are not holding on to the ball well. We can talk about quarterbacks, but your running backs, the guys who should be holding on to the ball no matter what, are not holding on to the ball well. And this is where I think you start to ask the question, is DeMarco Murray on the hot seat? Should Oklahoma be looking to fire DeMarco Murray as their running backs coach and go get somebody else this offseason with an offensive coordinator, or let their offensive coordinator bring in their own running backs coach? And I think it's a very valid point to ask, because outside of Eric Gray, DeMarco Murray hasn't developed anybody. Kennedy Brooks was not him. And you look at the guys he's brought in, he is recruited very well, but he's not developed well at all. And Oklahoma fans are frustrated at this point. Then you got to turn your attention to the offensive line, right? The sacks have been probably outside of turning the ball over on offense, the biggest problem on offense. Because although your wide receiver play isn't good, if the quarterbacks had enough time, they're finding open wide receivers. They're able to make different decisions than what they're able to make. But no, in 2 games, Oklahoma has given up 19 sacks. Last week you gave up 9. Today you gave up 10. They have 39 sacks on the season, and Oklahoma has allowed 30 sacks in 5 SEC games. That includes 25 over the last 3 games. That is putrid. But it doesn't help that this is now the 7th different combination on the offensive line. You cannot get any continuity on this offensive line. And whether it's due to guys aren't playing to their potential, guys keep getting banged up, it is a problem for Oklahoma. Now, I do want to say, I don't think we need to be talking about firing Bill Bedenbaugh yet. I still think he's your offensive line coach going into next season. Remember, you fire Bill Bedenbaugh, you probably lose this amazing offensive line class that he's brought in. So you definitely don't want to break that apart, especially because you're going to end up in the same position that you have been in, where you don't have depth at that position because guys are going to walk out and leave. They want to be developed by Bill Bedenbaugh because they know Bill Bedenbaugh can do the job. The question is, how do they tackle this during the offseason? I have some takes on it, right? I don't think you need to bring in any transfer portal offensive linemen. I don't think you need to. You have enough guys that are talented in this room to do it. You need to roll with them, and you need to find a starting 5 to finish with through the end of the year so that you can probably roll in with 4 out of 5 starters going into the next season. And I know people are going to say, I don't want to bring these people back. Sexton has not had a fair shot. He's been banged up. He's had to go from tackle to guard to back to tackle, back to guard, just to try to help out the center a little bit when it was Hickman. Hickman's been absolutely banged up this year. You finally get Troy Everett back. I think he's looked pretty good. Fabici, I think, maybe another year, and I think Fabici is going to be a really good talent for Oklahoma, but I think he's got some technique things that he needs to work on. Jake Taylor, again, a banged-up offensive lineman that was really good. I think next year has an opportunity to be a really good offensive lineman on the right side if he can be there. I think the biggest toss-up is that left guard position. I talked about it in the Discord today, but I said I think every position on this offensive line is taken outside of left guard. For left guard, you're looking at EPL, you're looking at Hito Zaida, Michael Fasusi when he comes in next year, and Gary and Hatchett, right? I guess maybe if you want to throw the right guard spot up for a competition as well, you can. But I think both of your tackle spots, with Taylor and Sexton, assuming those two come back, are solidified. Those two are good. They just haven't had a fair shot. They've been hurt. But the offensive line has got to fix itself. You got to find more continuity there. This offensive line's got to get better. Otherwise, the quarterback has no hope. Jackson Arnold fumbled it in this game, and it was because the offensive line got completely blown up on that play. And while Jackson Arnold's trying to pull the ball back from a simple fake handoff to the running back, he gets blown up and the ball comes out. That's not his fault. That is on the offensive line and blocking. So I'm not saying Bill Bedenbaugh's on the hot seat yet. It might be getting warm. I think, with this being his first year with a bad offensive line, we need to give it another shot, another year before you really start to call for somebody else's head. So looking at, the offense, you only had 2 receivers catch a ball, Jacob Jordan and J.J. Hester. Like, in Maine, you need to give all your young guys, Carrion, Kearney, Petaway, every single one of those wide receivers, they need running that game. And then when you get to Missouri, you get Deion Burks, you get Farouk back, and your starting 5 wide receivers need to be Jacob Jordan, Brennan Thompson, Deion Burks, Jalil Farouk, and maybe even Jaquez Petaway if he's healthy. Right? I think that's what you got to roll with. I think that's going to be your best shot to give you a win the rest of the season going into the SEC play. And Missouri might not be opposing as much of a challenge as we originally thought with Brady Cook out. But then you look at the defense, right? They played well in the first half. They were getting stops. You definitely felt like the defense had a little bit of rejuvenation there, seeing that the offense was able to move the ball. But then in the second half, like the defense just started, they didn't quit, but it felt like they were just giving up big chunk plays. Like these corners, they were playing soft coverage on these receivers, and Jackson Dart was going to be taking advantage of it all day long. Jackson Dart is an experienced quarterback. He's going to see those holes open up for those receivers, and he's going to drop those passes into them. Now, in the third quarter, Jackson Dart makes a pretty good, falling away throw. I think it was to Juice Wells at the time. That was not Kanai Walker's fault. I don't think there's anything you really could do better in that situation. But overall, the cornerback situation for Oklahoma is just not good. I think your standing cornerbacks that you need to return next year, Des Malone, Eli Bowen, Jacoby Johnson, but you definitely got to go hit the portal this season and probably take 2 more corners, because if Gentry's not able to be healthy and ready to go next season, you're going to have more help at that position. So overall, I look at it and I say, the first half, you feel really good about where Oklahoma's at. Like I was even saying it, if they win this game, they're probably winning 2 more SEC games. That's how you felt. But then you saw just the fall off in the second half. And I just don't know if, the offense, because it really felt like Ole Miss kind of figured out how to stop Arnold from running the ball a little bit. Right. And so I don't know if the offense needs another week to really get some more execution and play calling down. But I mean, Joe John called a really good game. I don't know if it's enough to save that offensive staff's job. I felt like he called a good game. Arnold, I think, played really well for the circumstances that were given to him, getting sacked 10 times. But if you're Oklahoma going into Maine, you're probably needing to start some youth guys on the offensive line, getting some youth guys out at the wide receiver position, and just trying to get some confidence here with this offensive line and the quarterback, because going into the last 3 games of the season, you need to win 2 more games. You need to win 2 more. You've got to get bowl eligible. You've got to get those 15 extra practices. And then you got to turn your attention towards next season, right? Getting some of these starters back, turning to the transfer portal, getting some stuff there. But other than that, I mean, if you're Oklahoma, you've got some problems. So we'll do a more in-depth review of it here coming up on Sunday. But if you guys haven't already and you guys made it this far, make sure you guys hit that like, hit the subscribe button, join the discussion below, and give me your guys' thoughts on anything regarding the offense or the defense. We'll make sure to give you guys a reply back. But hey, until next time, Boomer.